तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
ॐ तव कथामृतम् सप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and we are taking up today the English 7th chapter called the Master and Vijay Goswami, containing the incidents of Thursday, December 14, 1882. And in Bengali, I told you, it will be in the Akhanda edition, it will be page 113, 113. Heading is slightly different. Shrut Vijay Krishna Goswami O Annanya Bhaktar Prati Thakur Sri Ramakrishna Upadesh. Now, I told you certain things about Vijay. Now we shall see. It was afternoon. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on his bed after a short noonday rest. Vijay, Balaram, M, and a few other devotees were sitting on the floor with their faces toward the master. Yesterday I told one thing wrong. I told about Nityananda Goswami. But another companion of Thakur was Advaita Goswami. And Advaita Goswami was a remote ancestor of Vijay Krishna Goswami. Anyway, few other devotees were sitting on the floor with their faces toward the master, so eagerly looking at him. They could see the sacred river Ganges through the door. So that was the direction. Master Masha describes all these things so that we can visualize, meditate, so we can visualize all these things when we read the Gospel. So these things are described. Since it was winter, all were wrapped up in warm clothes. Vijay had been suffering from colic and had brought some medicine with him. Vijay was a paid preacher in the Sadharan Brahma Samaj. I told you about this Sadharan Brahma Samaj. Sadharan does not mean ordinary or simple. Sadharan means universal, not Indian particular, but universal. But there were many things about which he could not agree with the Samaj authorities. Why? We have seen that. It is described here. He came from a very noble family of Bengal, noted for its piety and other spiritual qualities. Advaita Goswami, one of his remote ancestors, had been an intimate companion of Sri Chaitanya. Thus, the blood of a great lover of God flowed in Vijay's veins. Due to ancestry or due to his own sanskara. As an adherent of the Brahma Samaj, Vijay no doubt meditated on the formless Brahman, but his innate love of God, inherited from his distinguished ancestors or from his own sanskaras, had merely been waiting for the proper time to manifest itself in all its sweetness. Sweetness because of love of God. Thus, Vijay was irresistibly attracted by the God-intoxicated state of Sri Ramakrishna and often sought his company. He would listen to the master's words with great respect, and they would dance together in an ecstasy of divine love. So, divine love gives exhilaration, and that exhilaration is expressed as dance. It was a weekday. Generally, devotees came to the master in large numbers on Sundays. Hence, those who wanted to have intimate talks with him visited him on weekdays. A boy named Vishnu, living in Aryadaha, had recently committed suicide by cutting his throat with a razor. गला कर दिया, all right. The talk turned to him. Master, I felt very badly when I heard of the boys passing away. He was a pupil in a school and he used to come here. He would often say to me that he couldn't enjoy worldly life. He had lived with some relatives in the western provinces, UP, the west of Bengal. UP or Punjab at the most. And at that time, used to meditate in solitude in the meadows, hills, and forests. Hills are mentioned, though that should be Punjab or what we call Uttarakhand now, the western side of UP. He told me he had visions of many divine forms. Thakur is showing his spiritual evolution or elevation of that boy, because that has connected, we shall see now. Perhaps this was his last birth. He must have finished most of his duties in his previous birth. So now he is taking clear that it is a continuity from birth to birth. The little that had been left undone was perhaps finished in this one. Perhaps everywhere, because this is Anuman Praman, guesswork. One must admit the existence of tendencies inherited from previous births. So this directly applies to that boy, but also applies to Vijay also. There is a story. Now he is explaining that through an incident. There is a story about a man who practiced the Shava Sadhana. Footnote is given. A religious practice prescribed by the Tantra in which the aspirant uses a corpse as a seat for meditation. To understand that the world is vanishing. So he has to sit on a corpse. But it is dangerous. Sometimes without consciousness, but the prana aroused by the sadhak sadhana enters into that corpse, and that corpse opens its mouth as if he is living and hungry. And then the rules of Shava Sadhana says that you should keep some puffed rice with you, and that if you put in the mouth, then the mouth gets closed. So, like that, there are some terrible possibilities in that Shava Sadhana. He worshipped the Divine Mother in a deep forest. First, he saw many terrible visions because that is very dangerous. Finally, a tiger attacked and killed him because in the forest. Another man, happening to pass and seeing the approach of the tiger, had climbed a tree. Tigers, they climb the tree or not?
Tigers, not much.
All tigers are shown in these videos to climb the trees.
Tigers.
But people generally think they will be safe there. There are various types, not tigers, leopards. So like that. Maybe leopards climb. Afterwards, he got down and found all the arrangements for worship at hand. So the Shava Sadhana requires many other ingredients. And they were all there ready. He performed some purifying ceremonies and seated himself on the corpse. No sooner had he done a little japa. Japa should be known to non-Indians as counting the beads or some mantra chanted devotionally. No sooner had he done a little japa than the Divine Mother appeared before him and said, "My child, I am very much pleased with you. Accept a boon from me." He bowed low at the lotus feet of the goddess and said, "May I ask you one question, Mother? I am speechless with amazement at your action. The other man worked so hard to get the ingredients for your worship and tried to propitiate you for such a long time. But you didn't condescend to show him your favor. And I, who don't know anything of worship, who have done nothing, who have neither devotion nor knowledge nor love, and who haven't practiced any austerities, am receiving so much of your grace." The Divine Mother said with a laugh, because the calculation is different, "My child, you don't remember your previous births. For many births, you tried to propitiate me through austerities. As a result of those austerities, all these things have come to hand, and you have been blessed with my vision. Now ask me your boon." So, past sanskaras must be remembered. We see a man only in this life, but what he has done in the past we do not know. So, this grace has its own rules. Not that suddenly he got something. It appeared as if suddenly he got something. But Mother told that you have been practicing for a long time, and that has fruited and come. A devotee, "I am frightened to hear of this suicide." The talk started from suicide as if veered away. So the man has brought it back to suicide. "Master, suicide is a heinous sin undoubtedly. A man who kills himself must return again and again in this world and suffer its agony." And that is the main thing. When people find the life intolerable, they commit suicide, thinking that they will escape those situations or sorrows of life, but they can't escape. If their previous lives, sins and all that which he have committed are were going to bring fruit in this life, and he has cut it short. In the next life, he will have to suffer. He cannot escape any ill effect. Plus, this is a sin to kill oneself. And if one kills himself, then one generally becomes ghost. He lives without the body with desires unfulfilled, so more torture. So committing suicide is a heinous crime. Sin. Crime is a legal world. Sin is the spiritual world. A man who kills himself must return again and again to this world and suffer its agony. But there is a but there. Because the talk is about that boy who was spiritually elevated. But I don't call it suicide if a person leaves his body after having the vision of God. So it is not suicide at all. He has used the body, now it is over. There is no harm in giving up one's body that way. So it is not called suicide. It is giving up one's body. After attaining knowledge, some people give up their bodies. After the example, after the gold image has been cast in the clay mold, you may either preserve the mold or break it. So inner life is ready. Man is dealing with the mind and eye consciousness, and that has developed fully. So that mold body, physical body, is of no use. One may keep, one may destroy. One may keep because that does not give any harm, but one may destroy because it is not a suicide. The very life has been fulfilled, so what is body now? Then he is giving a similar incident of many years past. Similar. Many years ago, a young man of about 20 used to come to the temple garden from Baranagar. Baranagar, where Master Mash had stayed with the elder sister, in between Calcutta and Dakshineshwar. His name was Gopal Sen. In my presence, he used to experience such intense ecstasy in Thakur's presence that Hriday had to support him for fear he might fall to the ground and break his limbs. That young man touched my feet one day and said, "Sir, I shall not be able to see you anymore. Let me bid you goodbye." A few days later, I learned that he had given up his body. How he is not mentioned here, he has given up his body. Now, giving up the body is not possible without the will of the mother. That also has seen. Totapuri could not. But if the life's purpose has been fulfilled, then it is not called suicide. And Totapuri had yet to get some knowledge from the master. So he was not allowed. Now he talks about man in general. And he has told this in the third meeting. It is said that there are 4 classes of human beings: the bound, those aspiring after liberation, the liberated, and the ever perfect. This world is like a fishing net. Men are the fish, and God, whose Maya has created this world, is the fisherman. When the fish are entangled in the net, some of them try to tear through its meshes in order to get their liberation. They are like the men striving after liberation. But by no means all of these escape. Only a few jump out of the net with a loud splash, and then people say, there goes the big one. In like manner, there 3 or 4 men attain liberation in a group. Again, some fish are so careful by nature that they are never caught in the net. Some beings of the ever perfect class, like Narada. So Narada is a very famous name. He is called Devarshi, sage amongst gods. And he helped many people to cross this ocean of samsara. So he is ever perfect. Like Narada, are never entangled in the meshes of worldliness. Most of the fish are trapped, but they are not conscious of the net and of their imminent death. No sooner are they entangled than they run headlong, net and all, trying to hide themselves in the mud. They don't make the least effort to get free. On the contrary, they go deeper and deeper into the mud. These fish are like the bound men. They are still inside the net, but they think that they are quite safe there. A bound creature is immersed in worldliness, in woman and gold. That is the worldliness. Craving for enjoyment is worldliness. Having gone deep into the maze of degradation. But still, he believes he is quite happy and secure. The liberated and the seekers after liberation look on the world as a deep well. They do not enjoy it. Therefore, after the attainment of knowledge, so he is connecting with that. For that he has told this. Therefore, after the attainment of knowledge, the realization of God, some give up their bodies. But such a thing is rare indeed. That means after realization, to give the body is rare case. The bound creatures entangled in worldliness will not come to their senses at all. They suffer, now showing the sufferings of the man in the world, which they don't mind. How the bound people live in this world. Majority of them are like that. Will not come to their senses at all. They suffer so much misery and agony. They face so much dangers, and yet they will not wake up. Wake up to their true nature, wake up to go towards God, wake up to try to become free, that they will never try. Now he gives examples. The camel loves to eat thorny bushes. No, here I stop because whether the camel actually eats, likes to chew them.
Chew and then eat.
Yeah.
Chew and then swallow.
He will swallow. Maybe. The more it eats, the thorns, the more the blood gushes from its mouth. Still it must eat thorny plants and will never give them up. Because he likes the taste of his own blood. And he thinks it is coming from the thorny bush. The man of worldly nature suffers so much sorrow and affliction, but he forgets it all in a few days and begins his old life over again. Suppose a man has lost his wife, or she has turned unfaithful, let him marry again. You know, there is a story in Bengal. A man married a girl and he extremely loved her, and she died young. So he cremated her and then started thinking and then wrote a book. Unmatta Prem. Something like that. That is, out of madness, man loves. And after some days, he married again. Udbhranta Prem. That is the name of the book. Udbhranta Prem. That love is madness. Then that madness became madness. Or take the instance of a mother. Her son dies and she suffers bitter grief. But after a few days, she forgets all about it. The mother, so overwhelmed with sorrow a few days before, now attends to her toilet. And what is meaning of toilet to understand?
Makeup.
Decoration, makeup. And this word, humanism, that means to call a small thing with a big name, we are applying it to cleaning.
In Bengali, it is.
Yeah?
In Bengali, it is clearly written. In Bengali, it is clearly written.
আরে এখান তো ডিসক্রাইব করা আছে আবার কিছুদিন পরে চুল বাঁধলো গয়না পরলো she tied her hair, she put on ornaments. So in English it is called the toilet. Attends to her toilet and puts on her jewelry. A father becomes bankrupt through the marriage of his daughters due to dowry in Indian style. Yet he goes on having children year after year. People are ruined by litigation, yet they go to court all the same. This becomes an intoxication, a very bad habit. They'll go on to the court. Both the parties go to ruination. The advocates make money. There are men who cannot feed the children they have, that is poor, who cannot clothe them or provide decent shelter for them, yet they have more children every year. So this virodhabhas, this contrast in man of the world is being shown. That is bound man. Again, the worldly man is like a snake trying to swallow a mole. What is chucho?
Rat. Rat, small rats. Small rats. Chucho.
Small?
Rats. Small rats.
Grasshopper?
No. Rat. Idur.
Oh, rat.
Small.
Mole. Church. Mouse or rat?
Mouse.
Because his natural food is frogs. Again, the worldly man is like a snake trying to swallow a mole. The snake can neither swallow the mole nor give it up. The bounds, so Thakur's observation you see, human life, nature life, and application of that to spiritual example. This was something very, very remarkable in Thakur. We see all those things, but we do not think like that. The bound soul may have realized that there is no substance in the world, that the world is like a hog plum, amda, only stone and skin. But still he cannot give it up and turn his mind to God. I once met a relative of Keshav Sen, 50 years old. He was playing cards, as if the time had not yet come for him to think of God. 50 years age. So that is something to keep the mind engaged, other than God. There is another characteristic of the bound soul. If you remove him from his worldly surroundings to a spiritual environment, he will pine away. But the example of this, Thakur said that some people who are not interested in God, they come, and then their friends are sitting, they said, come away, we'll sit there.
In Bengali, it is saying, in Bengali, it's slightly different. Next page. Next page it says, Hediye mara jabe.
That will come now. There is another characteristics. Playing cards is all. There is another characteristics of the bound soul. If you remove him from his worldly surroundings to a spiritual environment, he will pine away. The worm that grows in filth feels very happy there. It thrives in filth. It will die if you put it in a pot of rice. Because all remained silent because facts of life Thakur showed. Vijay is asking now, what must the bound soul's condition of mind be in order to achieve liberation? Bound soul, so many things Thakur described. And he says how he can attain liberation. So Thakur will start telling directly, he should have vairagya. Bound soul is not going to have vairagya. But how he will attain? By vairagya. So truth is truth, you cannot change it.
This question is similar to Master Masha's initial question. Moner ki avastha hole? What state of mind? Master Masha asked initially.
Master Masha asked for a normal man how to put mind in God, and then last question was how it appears similar. It is a very peculiar question. No, I'm telling, answer will be same. Master, he can free himself from attachment to woman and gold if by the grace of God he cultivates a spirit of strong renunciation. What is the strong renunciation? So, he has to explain strong renunciation. One who has only a mild spirit of renunciation says, well, all will happen in the course of time. Let me now simply repeat the name of God. I will tell some story about it. Now, one young boy in Nagpur about to get married, and he is now convincing himself. He is talking to my Guruji, and he said that people say that the married people paths are gradual. Sannyasi's path is quick. So let me have gradual path. No, that is not the attitude. If you think you will have gradual path, you will never progress one step. Thakur has told that. If you have hankering, strong renunciation, then progress will be gradual. If you think you will progress gradually, you will not progress at all. So repeat the name of God mechanically. Something is doing, not intent. But a man possessed of a strong spirit, that means that bound man, if he does like that, he will not go near. But a man possessed of a strong spirit of renunciation feels restless for God, as the mother feels for her own child. A man of strong renunciation seeks nothing but God. He regards the world as a deep well. The bound man has to come to this position. How he will come? By God's grace. He regards the world as a deep well and feels as if he were going to be drowned in it. He looks on his relatives as venomous snakes. He wants to fly away from them, and he does go away. He never thinks, let me first make some arrangement for my family and then I shall think of God. He has great inward resolution. Now it describes a situation about this resolution. Let me tell you a story about strong renunciation. At one time there was a drought in a certain part of the country. The farmers began to cut long channels to bring water to their fields from the river. One farmer was stubbornly determined. He took a vow that he would not stop digging until the channel connected his field with the river. He set to work. The time came for his bath, and his wife sent their daughter to him with the oil. That is the Bengal custom. Generally, they rub oil and then take bath. So taking bath means send oil. Father, said the girl, it is already late. Rub your body with oil and take your bath. Bath is taken in the river. Go away, thundered the farmer. I have too much to do now. It was past midday and the farmer was still at work in his field. He didn't even think of his bath. Then his wife came and said, why haven't you taken your bath? The food is getting cold. You overdo everything. You can finish the rest tomorrow or even today after dinner. Suddenly dinner comes. They correlate. So after finishing your food, you may see. The farmer scolded her furiously and ran at her, spade in hand, crying, "What? Have you no sense? There is no rain, the crops are dying. What will the children eat? You will all starve to death. I have taken a vow not to think of bath and food today before I bring water to my field." The wife saw his state of mind and ran away in fear. Through a whole day's back-breaking labor, the farmer managed by evening to connect his field with the river. Then he sat down and watched the water flowing into his field with a murmuring sound. His mind was filled with peace and joy. He went home, called his wife, and said to her, "Now give me some oil and prepare me a smoke." Smoke is for relaxation. And he is not going to smoke after the bath. Give me some oil, I will smoke a little and then rub the oil. With serene mind, he finished his bath and meal and retired to bed. When he snored to his heart's content, sign of deep sleep. Sound sleep, they say, na? So making sound and sleeping. The determination he showed is an example of strong renunciation. Till I realize God, nothing else. Swami Vivekananda has used this they were in Kashipur, and Swami Vivekananda had to appear for law examination. So he had thought he will go to his house, bring some books there, study, finish law examination, earn some money, and then try to realize God. But he got a tremendous vairagya. And in the midnight he got up, called his friends, and went and said, "Like that our days are passing. After this and after that. Burn all our desires." And they perform something like the Virjavam in the night. So there this is there.
When is this incident? When? One Virja home they did in 24th December in Premanandaji's.
No, that is after Thakur's passing away. This is Thakur was there in Kashipur.
Oh, they did. They lighted some fire. They lighted some fire. Wait.
In Nagpur, they were sitting near Eduni because of winter. But his contrast has to be shown. Now there was another farmer who was also digging a channel to bring water to his field. His wife too came to the field and said to him, "It's very late. Come home. It isn't necessary to overdo things." The farmer didn't protest much, but put aside his spade and said to his wife, "Well, I'll go home since you asked me to do." All laugh because it is not due to wife, but he wants to eat. That man never succeeded in irrigating his field. This is a case of mild renunciation. So how much renunciation is necessary to realize God? Mild renunciation will not take you anywhere. As without strong determination, the farmer cannot bring water to his field, so also without intense yearning, a man cannot realize God. To Vijay, why don't you come here now as frequently as before? Vijay had asked the question, na? So he'll get strong renunciation if he comes to Thakur.
What was the age of Vijaya Goswami?
Huh?
What is the age of Vijaya Goswami?
Age I do not know. No, it is not mentioned. But he was a first he went from this Samaj to Sadharan Samaj, and for his financial needs, he was a professor.
Oh.
But he gave that up for Brahma Samaj. And then Brahma Samaj, he was the paid preacher. And that was obstructing his spiritual sadhana. And as we read, that he had a lot of disagreement with the Brahma Samaj authorities. But he had to adjust somehow. So that is the state. Vijay, sir, I wish to very much, but I am not free. I have accepted work in the Brahma Samaj. Work means paid work. Master, it is woman and gold that binds man and robs him of his freedom straight away. It is woman that creates the need for gold. Sadhashana, sadhanishana, we have seen that. For woman, one man becomes the slave of another, that is gold, and so loses his freedom. Then he cannot act as he likes. So Vijay has lost freedom because of he wants gold. Now he gives an example for that. The priest in the temple of Govindji at Jaipur, Govindji is Krishna, were celibates at first. And at that time they had fiery natures. When the king of Jaipur sent for them, but they didn't obey him. They said to the messenger, ask the king to come to see us. After consultation, the king and his ministers arranged marriages for them. From then on, the king didn't have to send for them. They would come to him of themselves and say, Your Majesty, we have come with our blessings. Here are the sacred flowers of the temple. So they have come to bless the king. They want money. And they have brought something. Nirmalya. Nirmalya, yes. Deemed to accept them. They came to the palace, for now they always wanted money for one thing or another. The building of a house, the rice-taking ceremony of their babies, Annaprashan. That is done with great religious ceremony. These are all Indian things. They build up traditions. Or the rituals connected with the beginning of their children's education.
In Bengali, it is Hate Khodi.
Hate Khodi, Hate Khodi. So that is also ceremoniously done. Beginning of education. Then another example. There is the story of the 1200 Nedas and 1300 Nedis. That is those who munda. So they remove all their hairs. So that is called Neda. And 1200 sadhus, Vaishnava sadhus. And 1300 Vaishnava nuns. That is the story. Veerbhadra, the son of Nityananda Goswami. Nityananda Goswami, associate of Chaitanya. And his son is Veerbhadra. Had 1300 shaven-headed disciples. they attained great spiritual powers that alarmed their teacher. My disciples have acquired great spiritual powers, thought Veerbhadra. Whatever they say to people will come to pass. Whenever they go, they may create alarming situations. For people offending them unwittingly will come to grief. Thinking thus, Veerbhadra one day called them to him and said, "See me after performing your daily devotions on the bank of the Ganges." These disciples had such a high spiritual nature that while meditating, they would go into samadhi and be unaware of the river water flowing over their heads during the flood tide. Then the ebb tide would come and still they would remain absorbed in meditation. So intense spiritual power is being described. If they were such, they would never have married. Yes, some of them did not. Huh? Now 100 of these disciples had anticipated what their teacher would ask of them. And the count was also like that. No, 1200 nedas. That means male were less.
No, 1300. The first line says 1300.
There is a story of the 1200 nedas and 1300 nedis.
Yeah, after that.
Veerbhadra, the son of Chaitanya, had 1300, 700 disciples.
So out of 1300, 100 did not come. So 1200.
But this first sentence is wrong then.
No. First sentence is 1200 got missed. Fell in the trap.
1200 neda or 1300 nedi, tar shaki udam sadi. That is heading, huh? एक गल्प तो जानो नित्यानंद वीरभद्र 1300 नेडा शिष्य ছিল তারা যখন সিদ্ধ হয়ে গেল তুমি वीरभद्र হয়ে গেল
So out of 1300, 1200 got trapped.
But the first thing is wrong, na?
No.
First thing, only 1200 are there.
No, the heading is about those 1200. Out of 1300, those 1200 who got married. That is the heading.
But then out of 1300 nedis, what will happen to them? No. Now 100 of these disciples had anticipated what their teacher would ask of them. Lest they should have to disobey his injunctions, they had quickly disappeared from the place before he summoned them. So they did not go to Veerbhadra with the others. The remaining 1200 disciples went to the teacher after finishing their meditation. Veerbhadra said to them, "These 1300 nuns will serve." Okay. So 1300 were there, but 100 went away. Then, but the nuns will be in access to them now. Anyway. I ask you to marry them. So something miscalculation will not there. As you please, revered sir, they said. But 100 of us have gone away. Thenceforth, each of these 1200 disciples had a wife. So not more nuns did not remain. Each had a wife. So first should be 1300 and 1200. Anyway. Consequently, they all lost their spiritual power. Their austerities did not have their original fire. The company of women robbed them of their spirituality because it destroyed their freedom. To Vijay, you yourself perceive how far you have gone down by being a servant of others. Again, one finds that people with many university degrees, scholars with their vast English education, accept service under their English masses and are daily trampled under their boots. Now, these people now we may not understand, but that was the tyranny of the British officers, trampled under their boots for nothing, to show that we are masters. The one cause of all this is women. They are married and set up a gay fair with their wives and children. This gay, now you know, gay is applied to what? So that does not suit here.
This means happy.
Gay means happy. There was a fine English collection, Stories Grave and Gay. So gay is only happy, but these days it has assumed a different meaning. Now they cannot go back, much as they would like to. Hence all these insults and humiliations, all this suffering from slavery. Once a man realizes God, through intense dispassion, he is no longer attached to woman. That is the case. Even if he must lead the life of a householder, he is free from fear of an attachment to woman. So he is not condemning householders' life as such, but how women make slave of men due to attachment. Suppose there are two magnets, one big and the other small. Beautiful example, huh? Which one will attract the iron? The big one. Of course, God is the big magnet. Compared to him, woman is a small magnet. What can woman do? That is when man becomes attached to God. A devotee, sir, shall we hate woman then? Automatically that question has come, but Master is telling no. He who has realized God does not look upon a woman with the eye of lust. So he is not afraid of her. He perceives clearly that women are but so many aspects of the Divine Mother. That is the wonderful thing in Thakur. He never despises woman. He only is despising lust and gold. Name is woman. He worships them all as the mother herself. Okay? Now Vijay will continue. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhirīditam Kalmashāpaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatam Bhuvi Grunanti Ye Bhurida Jana. Om Hari
Shanti.
Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.